Hello everyone, welcome back to another video where today we're going to be going over the latest leak from Reddit. We mainly just go over these for fun, to dissect them, to analyse them. I'm by no means saying that these are accurate. In fact, quite often the opposite is true, but we talk about them because I find them interesting and you guys seem to find them interesting. But before we get into it, if you could do me a teeny tiny little favour and click that subscribe button if you enjoy content like this, then a subscribe to the channel would be greatly appreciated. We're on our way to 20,000 subscribers, so any support in reaching that goal would be greatly appreciated. I also have a Twitter and an Instagram, the links are in the description below. But with that said, let's get into the leak. So the leak is titled Tidbits and Story Beats for Series 14, some specifics. This is posted by Pleasant Key 8906. I have made this burner account for the sake of sharing some tidbits of information based on Series 14. Of course, there are some very specific details that you will have to read elsewhere that are both true and untrue, and this post will essentially be debunking a few things that are simply not true, plus things that won't have been heard yet. This is all information I have either observed or have been passed on to me from contacts in other areas of production, and is by no means 100% accurate, the same with any other leak. It should always be taken with a grain of salt in case of misinterpretation or false information on the behalf of my contacts. First of all, I'd like to address that Millie Gibson is not on track to be a villain of the series per se, though there will be some ideological conflict with the Doctor to generate a bit of conflict in later episodes. Okay, so right off the bat, I don't know many leaks that have posited that Millie Gibson will turn out to be an outright villain. In fact, I think one of the only places that I've seen that's posited is when you guys suggested it as a theory from one of my theory videos, but I never really took it as that was a literal thing that could happen, although maybe some places have, although I don't think I've seen it. So yeah, it's weird that that's the thing they start to debunk when I don't think I've really seen that, but anyway. There will be some ideological conflict with the Doctor to generate a bit of conflict in later episodes, especially relating to Albion. Ruby Sunday is not an Albion supporter entirely, but there are some policies that even the Doctor perceives as a good thing. The Space Saviour posters refer to Roger Ap Williams' hollow efforts to accept alien life forms into modern society, but in reality this is a greater plan to allow for an invasion, different but similar to how the Slitheen infiltrated Parliament in World War III. This, to my knowledge, is not related to the slug monster, seen on the set of another episode, called Fine Time, after the facility seen during filming of the Swansea campus. Okay, so that's interesting. This leak is positing that the Roger Ap William and slug stuff aren't related, and I love the idea of aliens being integrated into society only for it to be a front to an alien scheme. Again, very similar to what we spoke about in our theory video. The purpose of this episode is to comment on the trend-setting attempts of apps like BeReal, which advertise authenticity but are in themselves something of a trend that will potentially die off. Whether this critique ages well prior to the episode's airing is unclear. As a general rule, Fine Time spends a lot of time criticising the fake reality inside our phones rather than literal monsters walking around the streets, which can be seen in filming photos when the cast are ignoring the slug monster. The filming leaks of Millie during an emotional moment where she is crying after her mother is taken away is a part of a Turn Left-esque episode where we see how the slug monsters have started to strip away parts of Ruby's life, turning a dream reality into a nightmare, and is also for Fine Time. Okay, so basically that's like the worst case universe scenario, a Turn Left style episode, which I would love personally, and the idea that the slugs would kind of make humanity worse is an interesting idea as well. It sort of gives me vibes as well of the Series 10 episode with the monks. My only question is, would they do a Turn Left style alternate universe episode at the midpoint of the first series? Obviously we know that I believe episode 4 and 5 are the episodes that are filming right now, or at least something like that, as reports have suggested. So the idea of them doing a Turn Left episode this early on feels a bit premature. Albion will be a reoccurring thread throughout the series in a minor way across the series. The consequences of Albion's campaign can be seen in small ways across the series, including but not limited to the unlawful and immoral treatment of the alien visitors, commentary on immigration and how immigrants are treated, specifically in the episode set in Los Angeles, which many speculate to be the Area 51 story. From the documents I've seen relating to Bad Wolf Productions is true. The episode will focus heavily on the treatment of aliens in the past, and will sow many seeds for Albion across the series. Other episodes relate to fear-mongering, in a fake news style commentary, which is hoped to age better than the long game from Series 1. Moving on from specific details about episodes, I can confirm each episode is 50 minutes long, as in the Whittaker era, and there will also be one 2-parter in the series, leaving 6 other standalone episodes which act as individual stories. Okay, so that's an interesting little detail. Personally, I don't mind the 50-minute runtime too much. I'd have liked to have seen an additional 10 minutes to bump it up to 60, just because I think around hour would be good to flesh out some stories. But then again, I kind of trust Russell to work within that 45 to 50 minute sort of framework. He does it very well. I guess I just would have hoped with a reduced episode count the episodes might get slightly longer, but I'm not too bothered about 50 minutes. And I also think at least one 2-parter was kind of inevitable. Shooty Gat will retain David Tennant's 60th anniversary screwdriver prop, which will change into different colours to relate to different settings, as with Capaldi's Sonic. The screwdriver will change from Tennant's blue to orange in colour for Shooty's tenure. He will also have numerous different orange-red costume pieces, such as a raincoat and beanie, similar to Troughton's story Fury for the Deep. Okay, that seems pretty convenient, given that yesterday we went over the filming leaks that posit that exact thing, and I talk about that in my previous video. So I'm kind of seeing them potentially piggybacking off of pictures that already exist. However, I suppose the fact that they exist in themselves doesn't disprove this leak, but it does feel a bit like taking bits that we've already sort of speculated about and putting them together. And also a refined blazer of his Nanushka coat, I hope I'm saying that right, which will be accompanied by a Troughton-inspired look. This Troughton-inspired look is where the sun's leak of the wellies as part of the costume came from prior to the start of filming. Okay, that does make sense, in fairness. The budget of each episode is estimated to be around the Chibnall and Whittaker era, with some extra budget allocated for merchandise, marketing and other expenses. The rumour of £10 million per episode being the budget has been exaggerated greatly. That's nothing new. We heard that from RTD in DDIM himself. So again, that does just kind of feel like, hey, this has already been confirmed. I'll put it in to make it seem more legitimate. I'd also say as well that with regards to it being the same budget in terms of outside of marketing as the Whittaker Chibnall era, that also doesn't seem quite right, because Russell himself has said that there is a handsome budget, a slight budget increase, but it's just not to the same level as what some outlets initially reported. It is unlikely for any major villains to reappear in the series in a main capacity, with the Daleks being sidelined for a cameo role unrelated to the alleged one appearance per series agreement with the TARDIS estate. Other monsters will appear as part of Albion's outreach program, similar to how RTD included cameos of Jadoon, Slitheen and others in The End of Time. One monster fans can look forward to is the K1 robot in an upgraded capacity. No Time Lord villains will return in the series, as RTD wants a clean slate in terms of Gallifrey and extensive lore to accommodate new audiences by introducing new aliens and recognisable faces for the established fan base. And that's where this leak ends. Again, this one seems to be a bit more believable in terms of what it posits, but I also think it operates in that spot where it could very easily just be taking safe guesses and using things that already exist to make it seem more legitimate, such as the budget thing, which has already been confirmed, the raincoat Shooty Gatwa costume design, which again has already kind of been spoken about and shown through various filming pictures. I do like a lot of the ideas that this leak suggests. I'm not a big fan of Shooty and Tennant having the same Sonic. I'm perfectly happy for them to have the same TARDIS. However, from what we've seen in the filming images back when the 60th was being filmed, it seems very Tennant-esque in design, and I'm not sure whether a colour change would necessarily negate that feeling on my part, whereas the TARDIS feels a lot more sort of sterile and can be chopped and changed and, you know, differentiated a lot more, kind of what happened with the Matt Smith to Capaldi transition. But I also didn't like when Capaldi had the same Sonic as Smith either. But yeah, that wraps up the discussion of this leak. Let me know in the comments below what you think about it. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to give it a like, comment down below your thoughts and subscribe if you're new. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.